Hello, I'm Julia at the Greenwell Springs branch of the East Baton Rouge Parish Library System, and today we are making black cat felties. Your kit should contain 2 head pieces, 2 eyes, 2 body pieces, a collar piece, a pearl and a seed bead for the bell, 2 pieces of yarn for the whiskers, a tail, 2 needles, a small bag of glue, several colors of embroidery floss, and a small bag of polyfill. I'm going to start out by attaching the whiskers to the inside back of the head. I'm going to take and separate out from my skein of black embroidery floss. I'm going to separate 2 strands out. Pull 2, and then I'm going to pull it that way a little, and I'm going to start pulling this back. Unwind it as you go, and as you pull, you'll start getting a little tail. You can see where it's off on that side, and then you can just pull the 2 ends apart. I'm going to take and thread my needle, line up the ends, and tie them off by wrapping the loose end around the needle. For demonstration purposes, I've put a little bit of green paint just on the very inside of just a very, very thin layer. It's not bleeding through at all. And this is just for demonstration purposes so that you can see when I sew black yarn to black felt, what I'm doing. I am laying it down like this, like a U shape. I'm going to take my needle and thread and go there and come up, pull it through so you can't see it even a little bit at all on the back side. So you'll just want to go around a couple of times on each side to secure your whiskers. I'll tie it off real quick. And you can either cut it and knot the end again, or just go straight across using your thread to pin the other side down in the same way. If you're going to go straight across, though, make sure you don't pull it so tightly that you bend the felt. There we go. There's a decent look at what it looks like sewn down. Now I'm going to snip off my thread and work on the cat's face. For the face, I'm going to set the eyes where I want them, and I'm going to use a little dab of glue to secure them. Now I'm going to take another piece of black thread, double-stranded, and fold it over. I'm going to knot the ends, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to come up at the bottom center of one eye and go up to the top center so that I've got my slit. I'm going to do that couple of times. I'm going to come up at the bottom, always at the same place, just a little over at the top. Come over and do the same thing on the other eye. I'm going to tie it off in the back. Now I'm going to take and thread my 3-stranded piece of pink embroidery floss, double it, and knot the end. I have a nice thick strand of pink I'm going to take, and I'm going to sew on a little nose and a little mouth. I'm doing this with a little bit of a back stitch, which means that on the opposite side, I'm going past where I stitched and coming out farther along, and then going back in right about where I came out the last stitch. I'm going to come back up here. If you find yourself with little gaps that you don't like, you can come back up partway through a stitch and go back down partway through the next and close your gaps up. I'm going to knot that off. Now I'm going to take and sew together the front and back of the cat's head. First I'm going to take the tail, figure out where I want it. I'm going to take a little bit of glue right along the edge there and just sort of stick it in place like that. And that should keep it where we want it while we sew the other pieces together. So the way I'm going to do this is I've got 2 strands of orange floss for contrast. I've got the ends knotted, it's doubled over. I'm going to start down here at the bottom to one side of the cat's mouth. I'm going to pull the thread through the middle so that we can hide that knot on the inside. I'm going to come around to the back, come through, and come out in approximately the same place. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to take my needle and send the thread through that loop so that we get a little knot right there. Now I'm going to go over, come around again, and bring my needle through that loop also so that I've got a knot there. And as we go around, it'll nice little edge on the fabric that we sew together. I'm just going to go all the way around. I'm getting to the whiskers. I'm going to come right just this side of the first whisker, my knot, and I'm going to bring the thread around the front here so that when I come back through just on the other side of that one of the first whisker and go through my loop, it knots just in front there. And again, one little stitch in between. As we come up, we make sure the thread is in front. Pull the whisker through, and we continue. As I'm coming up the sides of the ears here, right at the very tip, I'm just going to go around a few times in a tight whip stitch and just give us cute little orange tips on the ears. Now I've got to the tail. I'm going to do a modified whip stitch. Keep the same look going across the tail. We're going to actually come around front, go through just above, come back out the back, right underneath, and go through the loop. You don't get the same appearance on the back, but you do keep it on the front. And now we're coming around the other side of the tail. We can go back, simply pushing it through from the back. And I'm going to continue all the way around the other side to right about here. And then we're going to stop. All right, I've made it all the way around to the other side of the head. And now I'm going to take and start stuffing in little bits of fluff. See if you can get it all the way up into the ears. If you have a pencil or a wooden stick, you can push it up, poke it up in there. Don't overstuff. And once you've got enough in, you're going to keep going around with the blanket stitch and close up. The head. Now we're back to where we started. We're going to go straight to that first hole again. Make another knot. Going to run through one more time, gathering all that up. Make the knot, and then go through. Push your needle back through the cat's head until it comes out the other side. Grab it and give it a little yank, and then push it, squish it, snip the thread, and when you let it go, the thread is hidden inside the head. Now we're going to work on the cat's body. I'm going to take the collar piece, use a couple drops of glue, and stick it down like so. And now I'm going to take a little piece of black thread and a needle. I'm not even going to knot. I'm not going to pull it through. I'm not going to knot the needle. What I'm going to do is push the needle through right about here. And I'm going to thread a little pearl bead. Now I'm going to go take the black seed bead, go through it, and then go back down through the pearl and come out. Send the needle right back through, right there next to where the thread came out. Make sure you're keeping your thread through. Pull it through. You're going to pull the shorter end until the shorter end pulls all the way through. Now you can unhook your needle. And you're going to tie the ends of your thread together. And just tie that several times until it's secure. And you have a cute little bell on the collar of your cat. If you really want to make sure that the thread is secure on the other side of your bell, you can just add the tiniest dot of glue to where the threads come out. We're going to sew the body together in much the same way as we did the head. I've started off my thread. I've gone through the middle, up, and back around. I just need to catch the loop And I can sew all the way around the body. All right, I've got it sewn around to here. I'm going to put in just a little bit of fluff. And I'm going to sew it to the back of the cat's head, like so. As we go, I'm only going to pick up a little bit, the top layer, the back, this layer. We don't want to go all the way through, we just want to pick up a little bit. We do, however, want to try and go through both layers of the body. So I've got it like that, and I'm going to come up like so, coming through the loop. You can see I've got it there. I'm going to make sure and pull this tight. Keep going around. You can do this part, if you like, in black thread so that the join doesn't show, or you can do it in your contrast thread. I'm actually going to come and just pick up a little bit here, come up like that, right at the stitch line, come around and down here and go over, coming up at the next stitch. Just hooking that top layer of fabric, of felt. And up in here, I'm going to tie it off. And again, run it up through the head, coming out on the other side. Swoosh it down a little, cut it off, and there we have it. Adorable little black cat feltie.